chase me?
Wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Be happy New Year. Means the best to you and you can. New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Lay down and the stars in the sky, so careful with the way for Jesus on the hay. Shepherds were in the fields at night. The sky opens up with angel light. They were afraid. Our postman. Don't be afraid. Love came down that Christmas day. Christ will take your sin away when you believe. He will set you free. Come and bow before the baby boy, who was born to fill your heart with joy. Noel, 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 we bring praises to the King of the ages. Noel, 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 come and sing the song with me. Noel, Noel.
You know, this is the time of year that we associate with happiness. We sing songs like Joy to the World, or Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, or Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. And it's interesting to me because very often in our culture, we associate happiness somehow with like getting away, something kind of temporary, a type of escape. Hey, for instance, if I were to use the phrase, the happiest place on earth, where would you think of? Disneyland. Disneyland. It's a getaway. Because it's not just a place, it's just a place to visit. It's temporary. Nobody actually lives in Disneyland that I know of. Nobody wants to live in Disneyland. Because if you had to listen to It's a Small World, like nonstop, over and over for the rest of your life, it would not be a happy thing at all. Or another little escape. A lot of bars have a designated time. It's usually early or late in the evening when they sell alcohol and food cheaply. Does anybody know what they call that time? They call it the happy hour. Wow, you guys you all knew that. The Saturday night service, nobody knew that. So, I don't know. Of course, they were all at church on Saturday night, but I'm derailing. Okay, you think about that phrase, okay, happy hour, and you think about what does that say about the other hours in the day? Apparently they aren't all happy. Okay, so we need an escape because we all know we live in a world. In all reality, we live in a world where there's so much pressure, there's so much stress and intensity, and there's so much to be done. And so people can go from just being crushed by the pressure to some kind of an escape. It could be anything. Okay, it could be watching TV, or it could be money, making a lot of money, or alcohol, or it could be sports, or sex, or drugs, or whatever. But all of that is temporary. It's this temporary escape. And so I think that down deep, really we all know that the most important question isn't, okay, what are you trying to get away from? The most important question isn't, the most important question is, what are you trying to move toward? In this one and only life that you get on this earth for just a few years, what is it that you're trying to move toward? I'm going to stop. There's a hole right here, and every time I step in it, I freak out. So I'm moving over. All right, back to the point. We spend a lot of time trying to get away from stuff. And the real question is, what are you trying to move toward in your life? And that question can lead us straight to the Christmas story. In the Christmas story, a lot of you know that there are these mysterious characters that are on this great quest, like the ultimate search. And they're called the Magi, or the wise men. And they're mysterious because we don't know a lot about them. They kind of remind me of a lot of people in the Emerald City, like stereotypical people that we admire a lot, because they were originally from out east and they came out west. And they were searching for something. And they had education, and they had wealth, and they had wisdom. They were learners. They were very, very open to new things. They were from ancient Persia, which is modern-day Iran or Iraq. But they were eager to learn from other cultures. In fact, they had read the sacred writings of this tiny little insignificant people called Israel. And they were willing to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort on this journey, okay, on this quest. And they were looking for something. Apparently something beyond money and education and power. They were looking for something. And they were men. Okay, we know that about them. They were men. They were the wise men. Now, somebody wrote a description of what would have been different if the wise men had been wise women instead. You ever think about that? What if these had been the wise women? Well, they would have asked for directions. They would have arrived on time. They would have helped deliver the baby. They would have cleaned the stable, made a casserole, and brought practical gifts like diapers and baby wipes. Because you think about it, what is a baby going to do with myrrh? Men. Anyway, The wise men didn't go straight to little Bethlehem. They didn't go straight to little Bethlehem. They went to Jerusalem, okay, the big city, capital city. They went to Jerusalem where they asked, where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. And they'd naturally assume if a king was going to be born, then you go to a palace. You go to a place of power and status and wealth because that's where a king lives. But the baby they were looking for wasn't there. Now, there was a king there, King Herod. And we're told when King Herod heard about this, about them looking for one born king of the Jews, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. And the reason for this is that King Herod kind of figured that he was the king of the Jews. In fact, he'd been given that title by the Roman Senate. And he was kind of a puppet under Caesar. And he was the last man legally to hold that title, the King of the Jews. And he was very paranoid about his power. He had 10 or 11 wives. Historians aren't exactly sure. 10 or 11 wives. The only one that he loved was named Miriam. And he had her executed because he was paranoid that she was after his throne. He had 3 of his own sons executed because he thought they were trying to get his crown. And then his barber like stuck up for his sons, and so he had his barber executed. In his dying days, he was worried that nobody in Israel would mourn him or mourn his death. So while he was dying, he rounded up 70 of Israel's most beloved citizens, and he put them under arrest, and he gave orders that at his death, those 70 were to be executed also because he wanted there to be crying in Israel when he died. Now it's Herod. And that's why it says Herod was disturbed when he heard that these magi were looking for one born king of the Jews. And that's why it also says that all of Jerusalem was disturbed with him, as you can imagine. Because if Herod ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So now, these magi, in addition to their long journey and being in a place with a strange language and a strange culture, they've got another problem. Herod ain't happy, and that's dangerous. And I don't know about you, but if I was the magi at this point, I'd be thinking about going back home. But they don't. They're hungry. They want something. And all their money hasn't gotten it for them yet. And all their education hasn't gotten it for them yet. And now, even though there's all of this danger, they refuse to turn back. Okay, they won't stop. And then came joy. One day, in the strangest place came joy. And the world has never been the same. They didn't even know what they were looking for. They get to Bethlehem, and it's nothing. It's nowhere. It's this hole-in-the-wall town. It's like nobody goes to Bethlehem. Nobody's even hardly heard of Bethlehem. And when they get to Bethlehem, something happens. And they know they're in the right place. Somehow they know they're in the right place, and they rejoice. In fact, rejoice isn't really even strong enough word. We're told they were overjoyed. Like literally, there was this abundance of joy, and it couldn't be contained. It just started to spill over. And there's a very deliberate contrast going on here. In Jerusalem, there's Herod. And he's got a lot of money. And he's got a lot of fame and a lot of power and a lot of comfort. But he's got no joy. In Bethlehem, they got no money, no fame, no power, no comfort, but they have this joy that overflows. And so we got to ask, like, what's Bethlehem got that Herod ain't got? And it's just Jesus. It's just that. It's only that. But that's all that matters. Because, see, Jesus is Emmanuel. He's God with us. And that's where joy comes. Because we see the heart of God. We see that when God's world was a mess, and we all know it is. Because our lives can become such a mess. They get broken, and our families get broken, and there's pain, and there's injustice all over. And we read about horrible stuff going on everywhere in our world. And then if we really look, like if we're really willing to be transparent and to look, we see that same stuff in our own hearts. And this God who made us didn't try to escape. He didn't look for like his own little happy hour out there somewhere. He just rolled up his sleeves, put on his work gloves, humbled himself, came down to Bethlehem of all places, okay, into a stable, into a manger. And you think like, what kind of a God would do that? And there's joy. And they see this baby, and they look, and somehow they know this is God. And their joy can't be contained. And now it can be your joy and my joy for all the same reasons. Because I don't have to be defeated by the failures of my past. I don't have to be defeated by anxieties and uncertainties about the future. I don't have to be defeated by my own inadequacies and weakness. Because this Jesus, he comes and he says, my Father loves you. And I'll go to a cross and I'll wipe your slate clean. And I'll hold your future, like even beyond death, in the palm of my hand. And I'll be your friend and I'll be your guide if you let me. And that's what happens to the wise men. And it's so strange. When you think about it, it's so strange because these guys didn't even belong in the story. They weren't supposed to be a part of all of this. They weren't a part of Israel. But something beautiful is happening here, a kind of picture. And the picture is this. It's that Jesus is good news for everybody. Like it doesn't matter your background, who you are or where you've been or what you've done or even your religion. I mean, you think about this. These guys were like astrologers just following a star around. What do they know? They know nothing. They're just astrologers following a star around, and God looks and he's like, that's all right. That's all right. Jesus is good news for them. And you may be Catholic, and you may be Protestant, and you may be Jewish. Jesus is good news for you. And you may be Buddhist or Baptist. You may be Methodist or Muslim. You may be atheist or agnostic or even an Arizona Cardinals fan. I just want to tell you, even a Cardinals fan, Jesus is good news for you. See, there's something about Jesus that just transcends. It transcends any one religion, even Christianity. There's something about Jesus that's just deeper. And these guys, these magi, these wise star-following strangers, somehow they know. They see this baby, and the moment is overwhelming, and they fall to their knees. And their hearts are like pounding out of their chest because somehow they know this is what I've been looking for my whole life long, and I couldn't buy, and I couldn't learn. And here it is. Like, here it is in Bethlehem. And they go back home. And it's interesting because that's the last we ever hear of them. But that one journey changed their lives. That search led to an encounter, and they left there, and they were never, ever the same. And that leads me to you. I wonder where this Christmas finds you. I wonder what it is that you're searching for. And I wonder what it is that you're moving toward. And maybe everything in your life is great. Like maybe your circumstances are terrific. Maybe you look fabulous and your clothes are great and your house is amazing and your kids are fantastic and the job is mind-blowing and your problems are insignificant and your regrets are few. And all the relatives that you're going to be with tonight and tomorrow are emotionally healthy, well-adjusted people. Maybe they are. And maybe they're not. And this wouldn't be the point, where you'd want to look around and poke people. This is a rhetorical thing. But I want you to know this. Because Christmas might be really, really hard for you. I want you to know this. Where Jesus is, joy will come. Where Jesus is, joy will come. Maybe not fully today. Maybe not fully tomorrow. But where Jesus is, joy will come. And many of you know all about this. You know all about life lived for a long time in the absence of Jesus. And you know also now about life in his presence. Because this room is filled with many of you that each, like in your own way, have had unique circumstances, have searched in your own way, and along the way somehow Jesus has entered into it all with you. And so you know the difference. You can compare the before and after, and you would never, ever go back. And if you're here and you don't know about that, and I bet there are many of you in that boat, if you're here and you don't know about that, I hope you do someday. Because I'll tell you what, there is nothing else like it. I can't explain it. Like I can't explain it, I just know. And maybe some of you are kind of skeptical and you're like, yeah, okay, but you get paid to say that. You're like, you're a professional Christian. I would say that's true. That's true. But I think, at least I hope, I could be a professional something else if I wanted to be. And it might be more lucrative, actually. But I do this because in my life, I know all about life without Jesus. I lived there for a long, long time, way too long. And I know life with Jesus. And there's no comparison. It's what I've seen over and over again. There's no comparison. Where Jesus is, there's joy. And I can't explain how exactly it works. I just know that it does. I know that I've seen many of you experience that, and you would never, ever go back. You know you would never go back. I've tasted it myself. And I've seen it happening all around me. And so if you don't know about that yet, it's my deepest prayer for you that someday you do, because there is nothing else like it. I can't explain it. There's a mystery to it. But there is nothing else like it. Nothing.